Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. A very good morning to our guests of honors, Mr. Desmond Lee, Minister for Social and Family Development and Second Minister for the Ministry of National Development. His Excellency, the British High Commissioner to Singapore, Mr. Scott Whiteman, Professor Robbie Ghoh, Dean of Faculty of Arts and Social Science, NUS, Dr. Gerard Yee, Chairman of the Charity Council, Dr. Ang Hak Seng, the Commissioner of Charities, and Dr. S. Vasu, Chairman for CSDA. Thank you for joining us today. A very warm welcome to all of you to our book launch event on Doing Good Better in Singapore. This event is jointly organized by the Centre for Social Development Asia, or CSDA in short, which is part of the Department of Social Work at NUS, which the Charity Council, and the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA. Once again, I'm Natalie, your MC for today. I'm a student at the Faculty of Arts and Social Science, as well as an intern with CSDA. We're indeed very privileged to have you with us. We have an exciting lineup for you planned ahead. I know you're all curious to find out more about the 3 books that will be launched. But more than that, we also have 2 panel sessions with leading individuals in the social service sector. So be sure to stay tuned for that and ask questions during the Q&A. Without further ado, let us start the ball rolling by having Dr. Corinne Ghoh on stage to deliver the welcome address. Dr. Ghoh is Associate Professor of Social Work at NUS and also Chairperson of the CSDA Book Advisory Committee. Dr. Ghoh, please.
Thank you. Thanks. Mr. Desmond Lee, Minister for Social and Family Development, Second Minister for National Development, His Excellency, the British High Commissioner to Singapore, Mr. Scott Whiteman, Professor Robbie Ghoh, Dean, Faculty of Arts and Social Science, National University of Singapore, Dr. S. Vasu, Chairperson, Centre for Social Development Asia, National University of Singapore, Dr. Gerard Yee, Chairman, Charity Council, Dr. Ang Hak Seng, Commissioner for Charities, Mr. Venkat Ramanan, Regional Vice President of Asia Pacific, Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and a warm welcome to the National University of Singapore. We are indeed very appreciative of your presence here today to join us in this special occasion to launch publications developed by the NUS Centre for Social Development Asia. These publications relate to organizational capability and capacity building of the social service sector in Singapore. So how did it all begin? Way back in 2015, CSDA, on realizing the lack of research in the local context on corporate governance of the social service sector, decided to embark on an exploratory study to examine the financial characteristics of the voluntary welfare organizations with the Institute of Public Character status in the social service sector. This was made possible with funding support from CIMA. The research findings were subsequently shared and discussed at town hall meeting organized in collaboration with Charity Council and CIMA. This initiative led to more town hall discussions with the social service sector, and issues were centered on leadership at the board level and financial accountability. These meetings were fruitful and illuminated the need for capability and capacity building in the social service sector. In 2017, CSDA, in consultation with Charity Council, decided to undertake the challenge of developing publications on topics relating to leadership and financial accounting. This was made possible again with a research grant from CIMA. CSDA then formed a book advisory committee to oversee the development of the publications. As chairperson to the book advisory committee, I would like to express my gratitude to the book advisory committee members for providing guidance on this project. They are Dr. Gerard Yee, Chairman of Charity Council. I think everybody knows Gerard. Gerard, thank you so much for all your guidance and support. Words of wisdom. The next person also everybody knows, Dr. S. Vasu. Yes, my chairman of CSDA. Dr. Vasu has been a strong pillar of support, really. Anything we don't know, we turn to Dr. Vasu. He gave us the answer. Yeah, my chairman, you know. And Ms. Sim Hui Ting, Deputy Commissioner for Charities. Hui Ting, where are you? Yeah. A must-know person. Hui Ting is really excellent, and we enjoyed our working relationship with Charity Unit and the staff as well. Other than contributions by the Book Advisory Committee, I attribute the successful completion of the publications to 3 key factors. First, the people who hold the pen, P-E-N, okay, not pens, P-E-N. My grateful thanks to the 3 editors who worked very hard to put the publications together, which is by no means an easy task. Thank you, Professors Alfred Loh. Alfred, would you like to raise? Yeah. And Teo Chi Kiang, retired professor from NUS Business School, and Dr. Isabel Sim, Senior Research Fellow at CSDA, NUS. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Appreciate it. Credit also goes to the authors who shared their perspectives and provided the content. Thanks also to the reviewers who gave their independent perspectives to the writing and the contributors who generously shared their stories. And on this note, I would like to make special mention to former Commissioner of Charities, Mr. Loh, Park Yong, for actually, Mr. Loh, where are you? Would you like to you see, he's so quiet. He's been very instrumental when we first started the work, and supporting us along the way. And even if he's retired, we have not let him go, He was a reviewer to our chapters as well. Thank you, Mr. Loh, for your contributions. Okay. Now, the second success factor is financial support. Really, no money, no talk, right? What Singaporeans say. So we are very grateful to CIMA for the funding support of research as well as all the book projects. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Also, we are greatly appreciative of various donors, CFA Society Singapore, the National Council of Social Service, Baker Tilly, and RSM for sponsoring the printing of publications. Thank you very much. I would like to make special mention of one gentleman, also quietly, doing good work, Mr. Ang Hao Yao, for his generous donations to the work of CSDA. Yes, Mr. Ang. Thank you. So once again, I would like to express my grateful thanks to our guest of honor, Minister Desmond Lee, for gracing this occasion. Thank you, sir. Yes. And we are indeed delighted that the British High Commissioner is present with us today. Thank you, Your Excellency. Last but not least, a very big thank you to all of you for taking time to join us in this event. Besides launching the publications, we have planned 2 panel sessions, which I hope you would actively participate. The topics are exciting, relating to leadership in the social service sector, and best practices in accounting and finance for the charity sector. In celebrating the book launch, and also to show our appreciation for your participation and support, please stay on and enjoy a networking lunch after the event. Thank you, and I wish you all a very fruitful day.
Thank you, Dr. Ghoh. We are honored to have Dr. Ang Hak Seng, the Commissioner of Charities, to be with us today. May I now invite him to deliver the welcome remarks.
Morning, ministers, Dean, Chairman, Chair Ladies, Excellencies, my brothers and sisters. First, I must congratulate all the charity present today here. For last year, our total donation has gone up again to about $17 billion. For that, well done, my brother and sister. However, are we happy? Well, we can always do better. And one areas that I think we can really do better is this in the area of productivity. So 2 weeks ago, I have a meeting with 250 or 261 to be exact of charities. About 600 of you all turned out for our town hall. And together we have come to a consensus that our productivities need to be improved. In fact, the figure that we have come together is that we have a consensus that perhaps our productivity is only half of that of the corporate. Productivity is important because of trust and expectations from our donors. So how can we improve productivities? First, in the area of input productivities, we need to explore new operating models, embrace technology. Good example is how do we do fundraising. Fundraising, leveraging on technologies, will means that we go online. But to help you to go online, last year we have signed an MOU with a code of practice with crowdsourcing platforms, so that when you use the crowdsourcing platforms, you know there are elements of legitimacy, transparency, and responsibility. And only 2 weeks ago, we signed another MOU for those of you who choose to continue for street-to-street collections. It's also an MOU with our offline fundraiser. Process productivities is another areas, and that is where we need to improve our professionalism. And this is my charities, my brother and sister, we are all going back to schools. Not to secondary school, polytechnics, but to universities. We have signed up understanding with the universities to enable you so that we can be high-performance charities. Regarding to process the final productivities is outcome productivities. And this is the productivities that we have our challenges, and that is where we often are not necessarily coordinated on the ground. As a result, 1 + 1 not necessarily equals to 10. To do that, we have launched our volunteer center, and the role of the volunteer center is to help to coordinate and to make visible where are the demand, where are the supplies, so that the charities serve where it most needed. So my brothers and sisters, in conclusion, productivities is important because productivities create trust, and trust will create more donation. Thank you. You have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ang. Next, we are very honored to have with us our guest of honor, Minister Desmond Lee, to deliver the opening address.
Very good morning, Professor Corinne, Professor Robbie, Prof. Basu, Excellency, Chairman Gerard, Commissioner Ang, President Anita Pham, Chief Executive Gigi, and many, many other chairpersons, chair ladies, chief executives, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Very good morning to all of you, and thank you for the invitation to join you at today's launch. I asked before today, I asked for a sense of who's going to attend, and I'm very glad to know that there are people from various backgrounds, from academia, from the realm of accountancy, public service colleagues, leaders of social service agencies, all of you coming together to share with and learn from one another as we seek to do good and to help others. In the next few minutes that I have, I would like to share just 2 thoughts with everyone. And these came to mind as I I considered the publications you're about to launch and where they might lead us. The first is about the future of the social services and the future of the social safety net in Singapore. Indeed, this is the subtext of your publication, Doing Good in Singapore. How we can adapt to the future and, importantly, properly resource ourselves and collectively resource the system for it. Our society is changing, an aging population, smaller family units, risk of greater social stratification, the impact of technology on job security, lifestyles, and personal relationships. And these are all quite well known. And as we look into the future, however, we see several drivers that may go one way or the other. These include the strength of families and the adequacy of family support, the willingness and ability of family members to support each other, and the strength of our community, how cohesive we'll be as a society and how willing we are to help each other, whether we will be self-centered or others-centered. What kind of Singapore do we want for ourselves and, most importantly, for our future generations? What will our social safety net be like? What will our social services and systems be like in the future? How do we improve the system? How do we improve the policies that we have? How can our community help individuals and families who need a hand? Now, we've started a major effort to transform how we plan and deliver assistance and provide social assistance. It's been work in progress over a number of years. In fact, what we're doing builds on the work that many of you have been doing and many of our predecessors have been doing over the decades and generations. It's because of our ability to stand on their shoulders that today we're able to look forward to something better. And we have many social service agencies on the ground. Look around you and you'll see a familiar face from a veritable institution or a new organization, a government agency or a statutory board, a religious organization or a civic one. And all of you have unique beginnings, some much further back in time, some more recent, some ground up, some governmental. And for example, some of us here focus on children, some at-risk youth, some on particular disabilities, some on senior issues, some on family violence, and so on. Each coming to the table, bringing into society very special skill sets driven by very determined hearts to make a difference. And the challenge for all of us is looking at the complexity of the difficulties that some families face as others begin to progress, seizing opportunity and progressing. How can we come together to work together even better, collaborate even more beyond our institutions to help individuals and families in difficulty, and as I said earlier, often beset by complex issues. And what we aim to achieve is support that is comprehensive, that is convenient for people who need help, and, very importantly, well-coordinated. So let me cover some of the initiatives we've embarked on as we work towards it. But let me just say, first and foremost, that this is a challenge. It's a challenge because the many helping hands in this room and outside this room all do wonderful work. All of us are, in a way, gatekeepers of precious resources that are invested in us by the public services, by philanthropists, by the general public in donating resources. And as custodians, we want to safeguard these resources to give to people who need assistance, at the same time wanting to pour out our hearts to help the people that we meet who need assistance. So that balance is a fine one. Can pull you in opposite directions if you're not careful, but if we can converge, I think that is a very potent force. Good custodianship, good governance, translating into productivity and efficiency in order to drive towards two outcomes. One, social profit for families who need help. And secondly, good resourcing that enables our colleagues, our volunteers, our social workers and professionals to be able to be the best that they want to be. So driving towards two outcomes. And so if you see today's landscape, we've done well. collectively as a social services, but many of you have reflected to me and to my colleagues that you desire to take that next level forward. That in the beginning, it was your predecessors who set up veritable institutions to provide services in areas which were gaps in society, where government had no resources in the early days to provide. And then as more targeted support was given, more means-tested support targeting at those who have less, your partnership with government, your partnership with community begins to grow. Now the next phase is how can we take our social services and build and weave even tighter meshes and nets, where each of us as a node point in that mesh remains autonomous, remains responsible for our governance, but yet is interconnected to other living nodes around us. And so the approach we're taking in response to the feedback that you have given to us is to strengthen social service coordination whilst enabling each and every one of you as a social service agency to retain your autonomy, to retain your drive and motivation, and to empower you to do what you want to do even better. And our approach, therefore, is to drive coordination. And so one example will be the community link that we are going to start. In fact, work has been underway for a couple of months. We just announced the 4 locations. In the north, Marsiling; in the south, Jalan Kukoh; in the west, Boon Lay; and in the east, Kembangan Chai Chee. 4 starting points that will enable us then to test this new idea, a platform, a place located in and around rental housing where we serve most of our clients. Not as a social service agency on its own, not a new platform, but a place to bring all of you together to serve people living in and around rental housing. And we'll provide dedicated program space for government agencies to network together with social service agencies, with civic and religious organizations, with the community and grassroots, with ground-up movement, all coming together, galvanizing the understanding and the needs and the data that we've gathered around the needs of the families living there, and then enabling all of us to partner each other in an ever more tight manner so as to help these families progress in their lives and to seize the opportunities and aspirations that they aspire towards. So that is Comlink. It's not just a place to bring people together, but a whole new way of doing things, a whole new way of working together, autonomous agencies coming together, sharing data, conferencing together, reducing the burdens that we place on families in need, partnering them, going upstream, building communities of care, and enabling upliftment in the situations of families. And so the Comlink is a microcosm of the DNA of operation that we want to imbibe in the rest of the social service and healthcare sector, the social health continuum. And this microcosm in the Comlink will be replicated in each and every one of our towns, all across the length and breadth of Singapore, from north to south, from east to west, each and every one of our 23 towns. If we can work in this way, can you imagine the impact that we can collectively make to the families who look to us for partnership and for purpose? So that's one. Second, very importantly, we are improving and seek to improve information and data sharing between agencies so that our clients need not submit multiple documents, repeat their circumstances repeatedly and unnecessarily. We're also working on co-locating more of our services physically and also using the power of technology, video conferencing, to enable not only our clients in the comfort of your office in one social service agency or one government agency to speak to colleagues and counterparts in other areas, but also to enable you and your colleagues to be able to network with, speak, see, touch virtually a colleague and counterpart in other agencies to enable you to discuss the issues at hand, to be able to work through conflicting policies, to work through competing schemes and programs in order to resolve issues for families. That is second, data sharing and information sharing, as well as the harnessing of physical proximity and technology. But third, we have also developed a set of case coordination guidelines for case master action planning. We call it case maps. And you'll hear this word case map repeatedly over the next few months. This will guide our agencies and our partners to better understand and support families holistically, especially if they have complex difficulties and with cross-cutting areas of need. These guidelines will help our colleagues at the front line to identify who takes the lead, to look at issues holistically, to be able to harness all our specialist agencies and social service agencies, each focusing on one piece of the puzzle, but someone having that overall view of the needs of the family, and to make sure that all the pieces fall nicely into place. Some of this may be quick, but a lot of it may take time. And if it takes time, all the more so, you must keep an eye on the ball. We're also training our colleagues from frontline government as well as social service agencies so that they have better information on the range of schemes that we collectively provide and can make referrals more accurately, and most importantly, not just make referrals, in fact, build partnerships to weave support around these families. We're also transforming the way that we deliver social services to achieve the 3 Cs I articulated earlier, so that those who need help don't fall through the cracks or have trouble navigating the system or get put off because of their perceived challenges in accessing support from all of us collectively. So that those in challenging circumstances can stand on their feet again, maximize the potential that they have. That's the first thought. Collectively, as a social service community, how do we weave a tight living network for the future? But the second thought that came to mind when I saw your publication was the need for continued strong leadership and capability development. Because only when each and every one of us nodes in this living mesh is strong, is confident, is capable, is effective, is driven, can we effectively weave that new system that we aspire to achieve. So your publication, entitled Accounting and Finance Handbook for Charities, dives into accounting practices, into the nuts and bolts such as cash flow, reserves, investments in detail. And part 2 of Doing Good in Singapore touches also on other areas such as leadership and managing volunteers. Dynamic and visionary leadership is important when I speak to management as well as boards of social service agencies. You have articulated that repeatedly to me, the need to ensure that your boards remain strong, have visionary leadership and vision, but that your management is driven and empowered and aligned collectively with you and with the rest of the social service system and the direction of our network to achieve maximum potential. Board members in our social service agencies, you play a critical role to steer the strategic direction and ensure that your organizations remain effective and agile. Leaders must also invest in our people, the core of our organizations, our social work professionals, and our volunteers and managers. Our people should have the space and support to hone their skills, and continuous professional training will sharpen our staff's ability to safeguard our clients' welfare and to manage complex challenges effectively. Our administrative colleagues also play an important role to ensure that accounting and other administrative work effectively support frontline services. To this end, MSF launched the Skills Framework for Social Services in January, and I hope you found that framework useful to guide you in empowering and supporting and training your colleagues to reach the next level of challenge. This pathway and framework lays out career pathways, the knowledge and skills required for key professions in your organizations. Now that's the framework. We are also setting up the Social Service Skills Future Tripartite Task Force to drive, to coordinate and implement tripartite collaborations for manpower development initiatives in the social service sector. That's a real mouthful. But effectively, it is a platform that will meet regularly, bringing together colleagues from government agencies, leaders and professionals in the social service agencies, as well as leading academics who can illuminate the way forward in terms of research, pedagogy, and learning. All coming together, influencing each other, guiding each other, nudging each other, collaborating effectively with each other, so that research informs practice, practice needs then, push academic thinking, government agencies learning from both, and then working together collectively. I think that is needed, and in many of the other industries, tripartism has enabled the system to grow stronger. This task force will also provide advice on curriculum, training pathways, and professional practice to enhance the capabilities and effectiveness of our people in this sector. And by transforming and resourcing for our future, we lay the foundations for our social sector to thrive and meet the evolving and challenging needs of our society. So I'm glad to witness the launch of your publications. I hope they will go a very long way to help our sector build management and governance capability. And I congratulate and thank all the donors and all the editors and all the contributors to these publications, and I look forward to seeing it uplift all of us collectively. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you, Minister Lee, for sharing your and the Ministry's vision for the future of the social service sector. With that, I am pleased to invite our 3 book editors on stage to introduce the publications. Dr. Isabel Sim is a Senior Research Fellow at CSDA and the Department of the Social Work. Prof. Alfred Loh is an Associate Professor in the Department of Accounting at NUS Business School. And retired Professor Teo Chee Kiang was a Professor of Practice, also in the Department of Accounting, NUS Business School, before retiring in December 2017. I will now pass the time on to Dr. Isabel.
Good morning, everybody. You can see over there, there's 2 gentlemen who has worked tirelessly together with me for the last 2 years. Maybe I can get Prof. Alfred to say a few words, and Prof. Teo as well.
Good morning. Nice to see you all here. This book project has been an eye-opener for us. All right, although we have been in business school, we actually don't know much about the charity sector. And through this project, we actually learn about the selfless effort of many of you all putting effort to do good. And we hope that with this book project, that it could be an eye-opener for my business colleague, my colleague in the business school as well, because indeed I think the business school can play a very important role to help the social service sector, as what the minister said, move to the next level. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I have really mixed feeling about this project. The first happy feeling is that it's all over. We have been at it for a long time, and it's quite a struggle, right? And but the other part of it, which I'm happy about, is that I learned about a lot of things about how charity function and the important contributions made by almost everyone here in helping out the poor, the disadvantaged, and the needy. And that's very encouraging to many of us who have never really get involved in charity work at all. So it's great to know that we have a many-hand approach to doing charity. The other thing that I really was quite find challenging was the fact that although we have collected 17 billion, I just heard it this morning, it seems to me, from my knowledge doing the work, that many of the things are not well coordinated. So it's really heartening to hear Minister talk about better coordination, better effort, talking about higher productivity. I think that is the way to go. and there are many things to be done. I hope what we have done together with all the contributors, they are the ones who actually contribute the contents of the book. I hope that this will serve as a springboard for everybody to move forward and to get things done. The important thing to note is actually to see that the people who are really in need get the product at the end of the day at the lowest possible cost, Singapore style. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you both for your sharing. Okay. I just wanted to share with you about our journey, about the project, why we did it, how we did it, and what we do. So, firstly, we're going to be a bit patriotic and tell you Singapore is our home. We're deeply concerned about the well-being of the people who are here. When I was growing up in the 70s and the 80s, there was only about 2 million people. When I finally came back in the 2000s, I was surprised to see that our population has come to 5.8 million. And that is a tremendous growth, and I'm happy for that. Along with this growth, I saw a supply and demand gap. And it was really in our face when we see MRT failures, we didn't have enough buses, and the frustration. And I was first trained in social work, but my PhD is in financial economics. My mind went to think, if we were already doing things about the public transport and the housing, are we doing enough for the social service sector? Is there going to be a gap? The next thing when I read about was about the aging population. And I found out that we are going to have almost 1 million people after 2030 who's going to be 65 and above. And that means we need more resources. So my mind wandered again. And I asked myself, is the social service sector ready for this challenge? Ready for this sea change? Surely, indeed, we must have capacity building, and we must have capability to enable them to do the work. So we sat back and we thought a lot and said, in our capacity as academics, what can we do? We can contribute to research and education. We would like to empower the sector to more research, to more skills transfer. So I actually went and cajoled my 2 colleagues and said, please help me. We are going to embark on this journey. Can we work together? Actually, myself, I was from the business school. I came over with the grant so that I could work better with the people from the ground at the social work department. How do we go about doing it? It is indeed a challenging path. We first brainstormed, and the next thing we did was to talk about our dreams, our aspiration for our society, and for our future generation, for my grandchildren. And we wanted to make sure that the social welfare of the people living in this island is well taken care of. And to begin that, we need documentation. So we went out and talked to people about the challenges in the social service sector. What is our strength? What is our weakness? Let's look into our past. How have we come so far? What is our present situation? What do we want our future to look like? And the person we actually talked to and gave us a lot of inspiration is none other than Dr. Gerard Yee. And this is what he said. We definitely do not know about tomorrow, but we would like to know what our tomorrow looks like. And that gives us the inspiration to go ahead. So how did we do that? First, I approached CIMA for funding, and they indeed gave us quite a lot of funding so that we could do our work. And then we found that the money was not enough. So I went to talk to other people who then partner us. the Charity Council, and Kim Guan at the National Council of Social Service, and also Anita, and the CFA Institute. Money was not the only thing we needed. We needed people from the ground to tell us what they are facing, what the challenges, what they would like the society to be like, what our needs are, what preparation we need. So we got them to contribute to the books. It was a 2-year journey. I was complaining that I'm slowly and surely becoming like a panda with black eye patches every day. And we had all hands on deck. We had the veterans who are from the pioneer generation, the Merdeka generations. We have the current leaders, and I involve hugely our young. They are the interns from the university. We came up with 2 books, Doing Good in Singapore, Adapting to the Future, and Doing Good in Singapore, Resourcing for the Future. And we've got people to come and tell us what they think it is. So we have Dr. E, Dr. Ang, Ms. Ang, Bilian, Dr. Vasu, Kim Guan, Dr. William Wan, Matthew Matthews, Mr. William Cheng, Usha, Mr. Ong, Dr. Yancy To, Simon Ng. And we have all the charities that's listed. We interviewed them. We asked them to contribute ideas, tell us their problems, tell us their best practices. So we have Minds, we had NKF, Pertapis, Renshi, Singapore Anglican Community Services, Singapore Cancer Society, Shared Services, the Straits Time Pocket Money Fund, Sound Foundation, YMCA. We also had the people from Changi Hospital, Lien Center, the Lions Befriender, and MVPC, Community Chess. We were not sure whether the views that were presented was holistic and whether we had any blind spot. So we actually have the retired Mr. Loh to come and help us look at it, and he gave many comments. And also we had our veteran, Ms. Tina Hung, who gave us insights as to if there's anything we have missed out. The next bunch of books was a little bit more to our comfort zone. It was the Accounting and Finance Handbook for Charities. Again, we engaged the professionals to be our partner. Mr. Chris Ong, the former CEO from Shared Services, wrote the first book. And then we have Susan Feng and Dr. E again, and Mr. Simon Ng and Ms. Uisa. We also had help from Peter, who's based in England. Again, we got the help from the charities. They contributed through their box stories to tell us what they were doing on the ground. And I want to tell you, we had 53 interns, and they worked for $2.80 an hour. And it was fueled mostly by passion and not money. We had students who came from different departments, including statistics and applied mathematics. We wanted to involve them because the social service sector is for all of us. I want to thank you all for being part of this journey. This book is not written by us, the 3 editors, but all of us here, because we really care about our home, Singapore, and the social welfare of the people here. Many people ask me, why are you so busy? Why didn't you get services from outside? Very simply, because this book is not for sale. This book is a free resource from the community for the community. It is to be used for conversations about our future. It is for education and training. It is available for download after this, and you have the QR code in your bags. And for generation to come, We don't have to worry that you cannot get this book because it will be free, it will be hosted on the charity portal. And this other book as well. So what is our intent? We really hope that you will use this for deep conversations about the future of the sector, for all of us to adapt, plan, and be better equipped for this changing social landscape. Now, I'm going to tell you very briefly what the books are about. For the set of handbooks, there are 5. The first is written by Chris Ong. He talks about the importance of good budgeting practices, the methods for budgeting, the cash flow management for charities. And Susan shared with us especially about what is fund accounting, which is the core of charity accounting, and the different types of funds, the restricted and unrestricted funds, and the presentations of those funds in the financial statements. And we have probably the most important book that's going to give us a paradigm shift, and that is Full Cost Recovery for Charities, about the non-profit starvation cycle and how we should avoid that. And that's actually being witnessed by all the charities around the world. And the mechanics of full cost accounting and how to go about implementing it. And we are really grateful to RCC, who really shared with us the insight of how they managed to implement full cost accounting so that they could be sustainable in the very long run. Having money and putting it in the bank is not good enough. Surely we can be better stewards. There we went to talk about how we should manage our reserves and how we should invest our reserve. We need to first know what are the key legislations so that we are doing the right thing for our public stakeholders. How do we manage our surpluses? And how do we then go about managing the investment of these surpluses? Last but not least, every year we need to have our books audited. What would be the best way to have an effective audit? And Isa, as an auditor, shared with us the insider's secrets of how to get it effective and how charities can actually prepare for an effective audit. So what is the purpose of this set of books? It is for us to be accountable to our funders and donors. We want to have better financial management so that we could be sustainable in the long run. And we need the senior management and the board to promote best practices for their accounting and financial practices in their organization. And we would like these people to actually encourage their staff to read these manuals so that they could be trained or have an idea how things can be done, so that there will be more efficient and effective back office. Please bear with me as I tell you about the next sets of books. These 2 books really is a documentation of what we have been doing in the sector. In the first set of books, we have 7 chapters. The first chapter talks about the trends and challenges in the Singapore social service sector. The second, we have Billion to tell us about a social service ecosystem and how do we make it last longer. And then we have Matthews sharing with us how we can develop a sustainable social service sector with panel insights from many veterans in the sector. And then we have Kim Guan, the NCSS CEO, sharing with us how social service organization can be future ready. And then we have Willie, an expert on boards, to tell us how boards can be future ready. And chapter 6 talks about the heart and soul of serving in the social service sector, about ethics, accountability, and stewardship. And then we wrapped up everything in chapter 7 and moved forth to talk about resourcing. In this book, we aim to tell you what are the key resources that are needed to run the social service agency. We first look at the transformation that's needed. We then look at the leadership and the volunteer management, the financial management, fundraising, philanthropy, and how, with all these resources, we can better manage our organization so that they can be high-impact organizations. Lastly, qua davist. It is in Latin. We didn't spell it wrongly. Where are we going from here after all this discussion? We hope you will sit back, read the book, and think about it. Call up your kakis for coffee and really imagine what needs to be done. I think there's going to be a lot of change. We have to be brave. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one that is most adaptable to change. Prof. Teo told me last night that we must inspire. And so he says, the project's purpose is really we should be able to do this for free, and that we can help the smaller agencies have access to knowledge, that they can see what can be done without paying for anything. And that we need to highlight to everyone who is concerned about our social service sector, about the existing and the future areas of the system that we are now operating in, and how that will change. And we hope that this book really will truly be indeed help others to come on board and join us to do more research. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Isabel. I would also like to take the chance to thank the three of you for being such dedicated mentors and teachers to all of us. We would now like to invite the editors to present the books to Minister Desmond Lee. May I invite Minister Lee on stage, please? We will now invite the editors to present the book series Doing Good Better in Singapore to Minister Lee. Thank you, Minister Lee and our book editors. Please kindly remain on stage for another photo. May I please invite His Excellency the High Commissioner and Prof. Robbie Ghoh to join us on stage, as well as the Book Advisory Committee members, Mr. Venkat Ramanan and Ms. Siobhan Sim from SEMA, Dr. Ang Hak Seng, Commissioner for Charities, and representatives from our key sponsors, NCSS, CFA, RSM, Baker Tilly, as well as Mr. Ang Hao Yao.
Donation will go out. That's right. Yes. In a little bit. No, go in a little bit. Yes, closer. Okay, fantastic. Behind closer a little bit. Fantastic. Okay, ready? Last shot. Hold on. Very good. Okay, big smile. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite all of you to join me in thanking our guest of honor, Mr. Desmond Lee, for gracing this occasion. Thank you, Minister. I would like to request our guests on stage to please remain for more photo taking. But before that, can I please make an announcement for our audience to proceed for a short break? Ladies and gentlemen, please proceed to the foyer on my right for a short morning tea. The event will recommence in half an hour. Thank you.